everyone, it's me, Carol from Practical Mystic. As always, I am so glad you joined me today. Of course, as you can see, we are continuing our series on the Pythagorean triangles. This is going to be part 6, and thanks for everyone. For those of you who are following along, I enjoy reading your emails and your comments. It's great to share with you this information and maybe even enlighten you as you understand your own personal six-pointed star. Today, what we're going to be doing is covering the number 2. If you recalled, in part 5, we started putting the individual numbers from your date of birth into the six-pointed star, where it is located. We talked about the number 1. Now today we are going to talk about the 2s in your date of birth or anyone else that you are doing this six-pointed star for. So get your templates out, and as you recall, in the previous video, when I talked about the number 1, I said that Pythagoras loved to label, symbolize, call each individual number from 1 to 9, the basic numbers. He gave them a name. Number 1 was monad. Now number 2 is the duad, and the duad symbolizes both love and sacrifice. Want to clarify why he expressed it with that word sacrifice. If you're looking at the esoteric meanings of what Pythagoras was trying to teach, had everything to do with divinity, a higher understanding of the numbers, not so mundane as we sometimes use them today. And what it was, the sacrifice was that the number 2 was willing to separate itself from the source, the monad, okay? And in that separation, therefore underwent a lot of experience. And what that experience entailed absolutely had a lot of sacrificing, a lot of understanding. And what Pythagoras was trying to convey is this is the path of evolution, of growth, and sacrifice is a big one. So the aspects of the number 2 and what they represent is gestation and union. And we can understand that that gestation period of the feminine energy. And again, just trying to remind everyone, in earlier videos, we talked about the division of the triangle in pillars. The one on the left was feminine, the center was your individuality, yourself, the one on the far right was male, and of course number 2 here is in that feminine receptive mother pillar, okay, the left side. So we're still in that area of delineation here with the Pythagorean triangle, and the key words are placid, meaning calm, flowing, understanding, or balanced, seeking that balance. So it's very important. The 2 is an emotional, feminine, receptive energy. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about it by looking at the quantities or lack of the number 2 in your date of birth. So if you have a single 2, and again, I'd like to reiterate that I realize a lot of you are also doing your own six-pointed star, as well as family members and friends, and maybe even your clients. So I realize that, and let me not say if you have it, of course, it is universal. So the single 2 tends to evaluate both sides of a situation. It's diplomatic. That is a good quality. Ideas, even actions, intuitions are being evaluated, and single twos are sometimes homebody, and they're easily hurt. You have to be careful. They are quick in sensing and forming judgments. Okay, now that can work both ways. If you're balanced and you're not nervous, you're placid, you're calm, you're just flowing, then whatever intuition, insight you're getting about that situation, that word, that individual, could be a stranger, that's going to come to you very, very quickly, and you're going to form a judgment. But realize that sometimes judgments have distortion, indicating how everything sets up in balance. But a single two is a very good judge of character, and they're usually spot on. Okay, now if 4 or more ones, that would be down here where our ones fit, are in the template, then this individual must watch what they say, think, or feel, because whatever gut feeling they're getting, those 4 ones from thought to the mouth, and you could get yourself in trouble if you're quick to judge, quick to say something, and sometimes 4 number ones certainly are. They shoot from the hip. So be advised about that and look at how that whole chart works out. Now I'm just going to take a quick look to make sure that you're able to see this. I'm going to bring it up a little more as I'm realizing as I'm viewing my videos that sometimes not everything is in the screen. Okay, we're moving on to 2 number 2s in your own personal 6-pointed star. Now that's the head and the heart. Okay, let's kind of reiterate what we did in past videos just to refresh our memories. You may recall we said that this was the head. We said that this was the center of the body, the heart, and then we said that 1, 4, and 7 was kind of the foundation, the earth, the physical stuff going on. So number 2 is on this line. All right, that we're going to call it the heart line. But it's also, remember, number 2 is the thinking even number. It thinks because it gets information. It's like electricity. It gets something, it has to go into the mind, the thinking pattern. Sometimes it goes into the unconscious and it digs things up. So when we have 2 2s, we've got that head and that heart activated. These individuals are intelligent, highly intuitive, and if out of balance. Now, what can cause that personal template to go out of balance? Double 8s, which would be sitting over here where you got that planet Pluto, or double 9s, where there's too much analyzing, thinking, that could temper and form an opinion, again, may have some distortion in it because a lot of what's up here has been pre-programmed for many reasons, family, education, life experiences, so on and so forth. So we may find that they could be, when out of balance, fault-finding and critical. Okay, asterisk here. Good self-esteem helps them choose positive relationships. Double 2s, head and heart, want to merge, want to be in union. Gestation, family is important. Expansion of the family, themselves, and their interests. Remember that home body of number 1 is increased here in the double 2s. Now there is a little bit more on this, so let me continue here with my next sheet. The double 2s, the ability to succeed wherever they place sincere effort. And that would be in the humanitarian. A lot of them are good social workers. They like to use their insights, their intelligence to advance other people. But they also have to be cautious that they pick a balanced partner or make partnerships that you are both in agreement. Remember, the thinkings have to have other people whose goals, ideas, morals, and values resonate with them. All right, moving on to 3 number 2s in the template. Very sensitive. Here's where I want to kind of put in an important part. The more 2s an individual has in their template, the more sensitive, psychic, the possibility of distortion, or psychic, divine, inspiration, and knowledge. But they're very sensitive and easily hurt and offended, especially if the chart doesn't have a lot of grounding down here. All right, they tend to live ungrounded if there's nothing here. It is tempered if 3 number 1s or a single 4 or a number 5. Now, the reason I didn't put a number 7 as that grounding is because 7 is a very mystical and spiritual and sometimes scientific, and it could lead to more illusion or if again not properly grounded, get too high. Remember, illusionary is what I'd like to say. So that 7 is not an important number to have with the double 2s. It would not help in any way. Also, when we have 3 number 2s, they tend to be recluse and have few friendships. Now, I put the word frustrations, and the frustrations come from an inability to express feelings. That sensitivity, that awareness, that judgmentalness that we talked a little bit about, just the single one, forming an opinion about someone, again, can be very much hard to balance and express, because the mind and the heart and the feeling and the emotion and the unconscious are all working, and very hard for people to make heads or tails of that and express their feelings. They also might be worried, because 2s tend to worry, that they're not going to be liked, they're not going to be loved, they're not good enough, they don't do enough. And the other thing is they could become very, very possessive. We have to think of that shadow side, a little bit manipulative, codependency. Now, to balance, they need outlets. The triple 2s are excellent in music, writing music, singing, dance, expressing themselves through dance, ballet, any kind of dancing, and theater, acting out, so that they take on the persona of that person that they are exemplifying in theater, in videos, whatever they're doing, and they detach, so they feel like, don't judge me, this is the character that I'm playing. So you can see how they make great actors and actresses, great musicians, sometimes great artists as well as dance, but that outlet of that energy is more in motion. Okay, 4 2s. Well, I put highly imaginative and impressionable. Absolutely, these people are sponges. And if I ever have a client that has 4 2s, I always advise them to use some kind of protective light, grounding, wear some kind of jewelry that helps them to be grounded. Amethyst is great. The other one is the obsidian, juniper, but an almond, something that they can hold on to, a worry stone in their pocket, something to grasp, but they're very imaginative and impressionable. They tend to be nervous, uptight, impatient, and critical. They become very self-defensive. To be critical, maybe to say something harsh, it's like that barking dog. The dog starts barking, you go away from it. So they're left alone. When someone is very critical, says something mean, hurtful, then that person's going to leave, and they're gonna feel safe. Then there's this feeling of wanting to go back into that womb, all right, that nurturing room. All right, they tend not to see or acknowledge positive things even about themselves. And then I put caution, back to our 4 2s, lacking in self-control. Again, a lot having to do with upbringing, a lot having to do with the way the rest of the chart sets up. That if they give way and they cannot maintain balance in life, then the escapism can be substance abuse. It could be less than that. It could be in purchasing, gambling, sex, food, workaholism, hoarding. Those are other ways of obsession being out of control, but not as bad on the physical body. Of course, I would have to say that sex with the wrong partner and diseases, so on and so forth, of course, could end up abusing the body. Now, to balance those 4 2s, the numbers are number 1s, absolutely, number 5, which kind of balances everything, you'll soon see, and the number 6. And usually having a number 6 has to do with a strong paternal figure, authority figure that exemplified reasoning, self-control, self-discipline, possibly. So those are the numbers that you would have to look up, plus other things. All right, friends, we now come to you don't have a 2, or they don't have a 2. It's called the empty 2s. And they need to develop your intuition. You need to develop your intuition and allow to feel the promptings of the heart. So that's what it would look like if that person didn't have a 2. Now, of course, I just put these in there to fill it in. So the person doesn't have a 2. Now, we have to really look deeper to make sure that there was a 2. And number 1, you could have a 2 with your life path number. Also remember that when you look at this chart, don't forget your zeros. Wherever, if you have a 0 in your date of birth, that is a gift. That is a blessing, a reward from a previous lifetime that doesn't show up in the Pythagorean triangle in a manner of a number symbol, but that essence, that divine blessing is there. So for those of you who have 3 or 4 number 2s and you have a 0, realize that that gift is going to help you with that balancing. The other thing, were you born on a Monday? Because that is a moon day, and that's going to give you a number 2. Also, if your life path number is 7, then that would mean that you have a benefit number of a 2. You remember that you take your life path number 7, you subtract 9, so number 2 would be your benefit number. So you do have that essence of a number 2. The other thing, if you're born female gender, you have, of course, feminine aspects, the receptive aspects. So I wanted you to understand those other denominators when you're going to evaluate the chart. Now, you also are going to have two energy if your moon, your sun sign, or your rising sign is in a water sign. What are the water signs? They are Cancer, they are Scorpio, and they are Pisces. Water signs, the intuitive, the receptive, emotional energies will have that two tendency also. Everything needs to be considered. Okay, lastly, what is the difference between the gender male and female? If men have two or more twos in their own six-pointed star, then sometimes that male has a difficult time exerting himself. He has more feeling, he is more emotional, he is more nurturing, and it could be a contradiction to his mind and his heart, because he may feel like he's not manly, he's not assertive enough, he's not showing leadership or taking command. There's a lot of denominators in that. If a man has no twos and has a great amount of ones and has a great amount of threes and nines, then that individual is very strong, assertive, expressive, and intellectually, and sometimes domineering. All right, I am going to leave it there. I hope that was helpful for you. I always welcome your thoughts, your comments. If you have any problems trying to figure out any of this, you know, all you have to do is leave it in the comment section or go ahead and email me. I always have my email address there. Let me know how I can help. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.